Yeah. Did everyone get their Brentwood Christmas cards?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
It was addressed to me and I wrote it in my wife's face. She's on the library board and she didn't get one.
That's not a city.
You use your boards carefully. I'm working on building out my board database, so I like that. Committee databases. Next year, I'll expand my recipient list.
Okay,
Very good.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I think we should please call the roll.
Okay, forgive me if I mispronounce your names. But Chris Williams,
Here.
Annie Farine. Do that, say?
Yes.
Okay. Lindsay Spencer. Here. Bridget Berglund.
Here.
Christine Madia.
Here.
Did I pronounce that right?
Maida.
Maida.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Horner.
Here.
Alderwoman Tice is absent. And Andy Burkemper.
Here.
Okay, you don't quorum.
Thank you very much. All right,
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Please, I'm sorry.
Lindsay Spencer.
second. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved. Any changes or additions? I don't have anything this week or this month. Any committee member reports?
I have something, it's not official because we haven't approved it yet, but we did receive the electric school bus grant.
No.
Which is amazing, we're super excited, so it was a grant, I tried to figure out who it was from, but I don't have that information yet. But it's for like a $411,000 grant, it's a 24-person school bus. We need a bus driver. If anyone's interested. People
Full job.
all of it's about for you. But the charging station will be at McGrath Elementary. And I'm not exactly sure when it arrives, but it's gonna be awesome for getting our students to field trips.
I was just gonna say field trips.
Field trips are gonna be great, and athletic events, because
Yeah.
we contract with First Student, and there's just a shortage of bus drivers right now, and to be able to control that, because sometimes we're just waiting for a bus, and I think it's gonna be great, plus it's electric, and they were looking, the goal of the grant was to replace diesel buses. But we don't have a bus and we used to operate, so.
You'd still be replacing a bus.
Right, exactly.
For drivers, look at some of the teachers and you don't.
Yes, so, yeah, we thought of staff. that
Because
we already
Maplewood
have.
also uses the maintenance people who drive the buses, so there's,
Yes,
that might.
there's possibilities there, yeah.
Now, 411, is that just the cost of the bus, or is there, that seems like a lot.
And with organization probably, I would guess,
But it's just for like the purchase of the equipment, not for.
not a program, I haven't seen that contract yet, so. It'll be official January 20th. There will be news that comes out from the school district on January 20th, but I was told I could tell you, I was like, I saw this stuff's coming. Yeah, that's gonna be really fun news to share.
It's supposed to cover all the costs, or is that a certain percentage, or?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I never saw the application, I don't even know who it should, but I got a text message from Dr. Zielinski, all in caps, we got an electric bus.
Do you have any idea how much, like with all the, I would think with high school game stuff, there's probably have to be more than one bus at a time, so.
There will be
Cover
times,
like 90% of the bus usage, or, like.
75, maybe
Okay.
75, we've got kids going to different, I mean, some nights we'll have kids going to 2 different events at high school level, but not always. Yeah.
But it will be used for all grade levels,
Yeah.
as like anyone.
Yeah.
That's great,
That's my assumption.
that's very cool,
Mm-hmm.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
It's great name.
I know you guys were talking about storage, and it seems like the charger's going to my graphs. I mean, you're going to store it on Spillister property too.
I would assume, I thought, did Dr. Zelinsky and Mayor Dimmitt may have talked about this?
There's brief, I have not heard anything since.
Okay,
So that's,
yeah,
It's gonna charge there, yes, it is gonna charge.
but she did say in the news update that it's a good piece at McGrath.
it's still going to be stored there.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I think
overnight.
it's stored where the charger is.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were talking about maybe doing a
Like
shared
sharing.
public works
Mhm.
thing, yeah.
So, I mean, nothing has been done.
What's the timeline? Do you know?
I know just enough to be.
Still looking.
All big questions, I will ask. Yeah.
So the announcement in late January.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Cool.
Putting in for a field trip the 1st of February.
Probably too early.
And we use it.
Right, great. A partnership in the city is always good.
Just saying, I mean, Brentwood Days Parade is coming right around the corner.
Man, I love that.
Yeah.
These are
That's our-
great talking points for me.
Our new us how beautiful. You're gonna upgrade.
Sustainability Commission had this year's parade, I'm expecting big things.
Right.
Truck is not big enough.
Right, that's true. Need a school bus. Great idea.
Magic school bus.
Mhm.
Very cool. Any other committee member reports? Do you want to say about your?
Oh, I brought that for Eric. He's going. Put it somewhere.
Well, I'll take it back.
You know that.
I think it's dog food container or dog food wrapper. Is that what that was?
It's yeah, it's dog food, cat food, that kind of stuff.
So is it
Any plastic, it's basically plastic.
yeah, because some of them are like they used to always be like a layered paper, you know. But the dog food you get is like super thick plastic.
Yes,
It's like,
that way.
it's like a big cylinder, like the whole thing. All we do is dump it into a, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
You can also take it to that pet place near Deerbergs in Glendale. They have a recycling. That's what I'm doing now. That's why I'm giving this to
Really?
them. Yeah, you can take that and cat litter. If they come in plastic, you can take the cat litter bags and throw them. Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because those are really thick plastic
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, they'll take it.
it's just like oh, it's supposed to be paper, you know, like
Yeah, it
paper.
all seems to be plastic.
Like wax.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, one other thing, I did hear back finally, like Christmas Day,
Oh,
from Aspect, Aspect people, they sent me an updated email, I'll send that to you tonight.
So this is to take some of our old athletic equipment
Oh, right.
from the
Yeah.
school, so, yeah, this is to our new athletic director has to
Cool,
match
yeah.
from the
I remember hearing
school
about that, but I
To that local business, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
she was saying they are like in a big scaling period, things have been crazy, I was like, you send it to this email and we look at it, so.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes, no problem.
And they were honored at the Green Business Awards,
They
so we knew they were still.
Yes.
They are,
Yeah, we talked about, we're like, oh.
Yeah, we just need to know how to get a hold of them.
Okay.
Okay, thank
I'll
you
send
for
it.
doing that. Yeah.
So, anyone else? All right, moving on to staff report.
Maybe my longest staff report. So
Yes, it's a big one.
apologies.
It was thorough, it was good.
So the first, it was Green Business Challenge. Chris has the copy of the thing, the report. They do not have it up online yet. So as soon as it does, I'll probably update this, put the PDF in there as well. But that is the report. A number of us went and had a very nice stuff.
I think it would be worth putting it on the next, or sharing it with the group somehow for those that weren't there, because there's a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Other,
You just jogged my memory, I think I did get the PDF.
Did you?
I think I got it last week. Would have come.
I got an email saying that it was coming in the new year. But if you got one,
I'm probably just emailing it to the whole group is probably.
I got our page.
that's good. I'll take that.
Okay.
We'll do both.
And then the PDF of the book should come.
Beyond that, the plastic netting, so at the November Public Works meeting, we did talk about plastic netting. Especially in regards to city projects for erosion control and vegetation establishment. The committee is supportive of developing a policy and specific construction specifications to address those concerns. I'm working with SWT to kind of see if they can help me draft something, if they have something that, like I said in our previous meeting, they were like, actually, no, we don't have one. So it'll be kind of interesting to work with them on that. So we are going to be working on that to take back, to bring it back here first and then take it to Public Works. The committee did also wanted to know what the cost implications would be. So we're working on that piece as well. So I'll probably bring both of those things here first and then take it to Public Works. So that should be coming, I hope, in the next month or two. We also talked about sustainability toolkits at our meeting. So again, they're excited about moving forward with both of the family and the DIY one. I did talk to the fire marshal because he already had an established relationship with Home Depot. So instead of me begging, I figured let the guy who has that relationship with them. And they agreed right away. So they're going to bring enough to supply 3 different toolkits. So we have not got those yet, but we're going to be getting those hopefully in the near future. We'll also, once we start, we're working on the guide that goes along with that. And then once everything ready, we'll make sure we put Home Depot's name on it. When we do social media stuff, we'll obviously change the Home Depot. So that's great for that. And we've also started working on the family sustainability toolkit. So we hope to have both of those ready in the near future.
That's pretty cool that a company that big, that we can,
Yeah.
you can have that much of a local, connection to actually make some stuff like that happen, without getting caught in the corporate mire.
I will tell you, we've asked them for things before, they've said no.
There's not this special relationship here.
Honestly, it's a fire, everyone does everything for police and fire, so I don't understand that. So, but I mean, our fire marshal is wonderful, and he's like, oh, we had me, he was like, of course, what do you guys need? It's like, I don't think it'll be any problem. Like, it'd be great to get one. It's like, if we get more than one, he called me back later that day. It's like, I got 3. So I mean,
That's cool.
it was great.
What's their, what's their working?
I think they've worked with the fire department on different projects in the past.
Okay.
So
Good to know.
it's good. So it's nice to know that we have that with them and keep that around. So the building code, the December 15th Board of Alderman meeting, the board adopted the 2024 ICC. And so that was basically moving from the 2018 to the 2024 ICC. So this is actually that's complete one of the objectives in sustainability plan. So that's great. We also at the December 1st Board of Alderman meeting approved the new vehicle policy. The new policy includes the commitment to electric and alternate fuel vehicles, which is what we kind of put in there. I put in there as kind of that statement. So the idea is that I pushed and Michelle pushed to make sure that policy did have this statement that says we want to reduce and get away from greenhouse gases. So that we support transition fleet as possible, and honestly we'll use the Ameren fleet report to try to help do that as well.
So that little paragraph, that is a quote.
That's a quote straight out of it. Instead of giving you the 30-page plan, I just thought I'd give you the most important part. But it is, I mean, if you go to the December 1st board meeting online on the city's website, you can find the full thing. But we're excited about that. Yeah, we did get some pushback from board specifically about electric because hydrogen might be the new thing coming. So that's why we specifically talked about electric and alternate fuel. So that gives us a little bit more flexibility in the future. Which leads us to something that Chairman Bergkemper asked, which is we do have a truck in the 2026 budget. It is currently a F-350. It needs to be able to tow the bandwagon as well as haul around our water tank because it's for our urban forester. And so we tried. I talked to my staff early on to say, hey, what can we do? Can we get to an electric vehicle? And they've done a lot more research on this than I have. But what we kind of mentioned below is the three typical is the payload capacity, which to me is big one. We can find something else to tow the bandwagon if we need to, but the payload's still not enough for the 3,000-pound water tank. So that's why we're gonna have to go with F-250 at 350.
And that's the thing that sits in the bed.
Yeah.
It's not a trailer.
Correct. And so what I will tell you is that all our 150s, we are planning on moving to electric. And we are making sure one of our department goals this year is not to get too bogged down in the budget, but the city also adopted an equipment replacement reserve this year, which basically is that we're setting money aside for replacement of all of our equipment, vehicles, things like that. And we made sure that we had enough funding for all of our trucks that we could, all of our F-150s, all of our sedans. You know, we have a Equinox, and so when that needs to be replaced, all that is going to electric. And we're confirming that we had enough money at ERR for that. We'll confirm this year's prices, because I think we have one truck next year in 27 that would be electric. So we're excited about moving to some of the stuff. This one, it was kind of sad.
Yeah.
I like that Marty, who's my Sparks, been like, come on, first truck since we passed this, I have to buy a combustion engine. He's like, yes, they don't have the payload capacity more than anything else. Our goal is if we replace the bandwagon, that is coming up in 2 years. We're doing multiple things. And one is seeing if we actually need a bandwagon. But if we do, we're looking at different options that are much lighter that we wouldn't need such a heavy machine that really that 150 should be able to tow. It's more aluminum, lighter than it is kind of what we currently have.
Yeah, it's heavier than that's heavy.
Yeah, that is heavy. I mean, you need a Class A license to be able, just to be able to pull that thing. So we're excited to get rid of that hopefully one day. 2 years. So, but what we did find out a lot was kind of where we're at right now with Chevy, Ford, and GMC. I know there's other electric trucks, but that was kind of, they all seem to be kind of on that same sort of payload and towing capacity. I will say what we also have on the agenda on the budget this year is the metric bus. And so we have started looking into some electric options for that based on what we saw at WashU when we did the tour at WashU. So we're looking at that.
When I was with the Corps of Engineers, our chief of operations for the St. Louis district, we have a lot of cranes all up and down the river because we've got locks and dams and stuff, and especially down in the St. Louis, in the river down here in the city. And he's like, we don't use this crane maybe once or twice in 5 years. We're going to get rid of it. Well, what that did is a gigantic crane, super heavy lifting crane. We don't need this. We'll contract it. That's why I like the idea of contracting out for pulling this thing. Well, you know what that did? That irritated the Rock Island district because they had a big crane and they don't necessarily want to get rid of theirs. And Memphis had a big crane and they didn't necessarily want to get rid of theirs. But then the Mississippi Valley Division down in Vicksburg, which controls this whole division, started to go, now, do we really need all these big cranes?
Own them, they just.
Yeah, there's really no reason to own them and maintain those because you only use them once or twice in a blue moon. So,
well, I mean, one of the things the city also approved at one of the summer meetings is I'm like Michelle, like she can read my mind.
Literally trying.
It's a equipment sharing
Yes.
program with a lot of different municipalities. So like we don't have a bucket truck, but Richmond Heights does. So the idea is that we can borrow their bucket truck. We have some equipment other cities don't have, so if they need it, they can come in. So
Yeah, and we filled out a whole inventory of like the equipment. I didn't have any equipment I could share, no one wanted my laptop, but of any equipment that any department had that could potentially be a mutually beneficial thing, and so we have a whole inventory of that now.
I would like the bandwagon, but that'd be probably tough because you want it at the same time as like in the holidays and whatever.
we threw it in there. We threw our backup, like our backup ICER servicer. If our normal one's working fine and someone needs our backup for a week or two, we're happy to share that.
I think we've lent out our extra fire truck.
We've done that before.
Great.
That's great. That's
Yeah, like after the tornado, I think later year someone had our backup fire truck for.
we have the following product, wood chipper down.
Yep.
Help us carrying out the tornado for all our stuff like that. Yeah, it Yeah, we had belonged to it, but they wanted to kind of formalize it again. A new city is coming on board, so we had to approve it, which the city was coming on board.
Is it you city?
Sounds right. So University said everything came on this.
So
No big crank, so.
I took the opportunity to revisit that week analysis, and I don't know enough about the budgeting process. But like, it doesn't seem like there's really any way that's built in. To do, I mean, do they do a lifetime, cost analysis, or is it just like a CapEx? Like they're just looking at the cost up front, and it's, again, I'm just wondering how, because that's, with the EVs, it's the lifetime ownership, or cost of ownership or whatever, that you really make up any, increase, any higher price up front, I mean, they're usually comparable, but it's the back end where you really see the savings, so.
What we did, at least, again, I control my budget a lot more.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like the city in general, like.
But I think the idea is,
Process.
we've had enough conversation in the past 2.5, 3 years where I think everyone understands the cost analysis benefit of owning an electric vehicle, especially in maintenance, especially in engine cost, fuel, those type of things. So
They talked about it a lot with the police car.
yeah,
Okay,
so I think that the good news is that is well known. There always will be a re-education when we go through. The big thing is making sure that when we budget in this equipment replacement reserve, we budget properly so we have the additional fundings for electric fleet. So
yeah,
like this year, I have it's $20,000 my budget for a mower, which is extremely expensive for a mower, but it is an electric mower. That's why we get that. Yeah, I say about half of our mowing fleet is all electric now. We'll probably in 2 years probably be fully electric.
that's very cool. I know that. Yeah, these are like big riders, big 4-0 things or something like.
Zero turns,
Big.
not the big one yet. That'll be the last one. We have a 40 tank that is still gas. But we'll get that.
So yeah, like I said, I was just curious how that if there's any this system is kind of built in such a way that requires people to kind of do that, like you guys, you're doing that because you want to, but other departments may not want to and may not, they just kind of throw up I don't know, I just, the new vehicle policy, I'm not sure how it sounded. Yeah. People are required to make a real close look at, the numbers, the whole budget, and if the board's gonna push them to do that and however.
I'll tell you where that comes in primarily is when we go through the budgeting process, because we sit down with every department and we start talking about capital. It'll be a little bit easier with the new equipment replacement reserve. But the idea is, as we do that, is saying, hey, is this a vehicle that we can move to an electric or an alternative fuel? And I'm in every one of those meetings, so they don't like it when I bring the police chief doesn't like it when I bring up electric a lot. Well,
He's got the biggest numbers on the table on the fleet analysis.
No.
$30,000 a vehicle we're gonna save.
Yeah, and that seems to be the simplest one. I mean, planning's already looking at replacing with electric when they can. Public works and parks, but anytime we have a vehicle we can replace, we will replace. Fire will be the interesting one. The new engine will be coming in sometime this year. First quarter, second quarter?
I believe first.
It's being built, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's being built right now. They go up in January to take a look. And interesting, we'll obviously, you haven't heard, our fire chief has moved on to a different position. And so, yeah, and so it'll be interesting once we hire a new fire chief, what his view on electric is. And he's gonna be, we're open to it, than say our police department is right now.
Well, I mean, fire department has a truck picked up on this year's budget, and it's not, at least it wasn't in the budget as it. And then I think there were 2 more public works pickups
The two public works are both 250, 350s. I do know that.
Okay,
They're both bigger trucks. Actually, I think one's a 550. I think it's 355.
okay.
So those, the 550s are plow trucks. And right now, again, according to staff, there's not a good electric option.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For the big ones. But once we get, like I said, we're hoping in the near future that the electric options become a little bit heavier, that they'll be able to
Yeah.
create more heavy duty electric vehicles and. We'll go from there.
I mean, there was, I think that, in this analysis, they showed like a bunch of F-250s, for 8 or so for public works. And they're all, they're all 250s, but do they all really need to be?
Yeah,
That's like, that's
yeah.
that's the level of like, how much is this really, I just don't know how it's looked at or how institutionalized that sort of criticism is, or-
Yeah, so when we talk about doing that analysis, part of the analysis is making sure that we also do the capital fund analysis to make sure we look at things like police vehicles and push for those type of things. And then also the public works, so that way when they're rolling around, to me, if you want to make a case for an internal combustion engine, you can go ahead, but let's have the funding ready for electric. And really, you're gonna have to talk the board on electric and.
Exactly. I think that's, that should be the takeaway from the analysis. It's like you have to prove, the default should be electric.
Yeah.
Unless you can prove that it makes more sense not to do it, that's cool, okay. Last thing on the vehicles, I remember today, that the police EV is eligible for the $7,500 federal. It was purchased before the end of September, before the IRA funding expired, and just a reminder that funding was, even though the city's not a tax, it's a tax exempt organization, they still basically get a refund check. It's not a tax refund, it's just a check. So that's $7,500 that the city is entitled to this coming tax cycle. So I don't know how to bring that back in front of admin.
I'll talk to the finance director. I believe she's aware of that. But it'll be a good kind of reminder. That's there.
Yeah.
And make sure that gets done.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's straightforward,
Yeah.
it's signed up.
I have to just prove that it was purchased.
And if they don't know where to put that money, we can have it for our budget.
My was like, you just set that aside for future chargers because Greenwich as we
Make
need
the funds, sure.
Yeah.
Although that's the only time.
Yeah, we don't
So maybe grants or something, but it's the only time, something else changes. Last time, good. Okay, that's all I have to delay that. Operation. Back to your.
No, that was the last one.
Okay. I'm gonna find my agenda again. Well, thank you for that long, detailed code staff report.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Minutes are approved. Old business. Back to you, Eric.
So just saw at the end of the year, we just remind everyone about the accomplishments that we did in sustainability. And what I did was, instead of trying to create something new, was here's what we had written for the 2026 budget book. It just talks about the main paragraph is kind of the boilerplate for it. But I think we did a lot of fun things this year and a lot of good work. Soul Smart Silver designation right under the wire. Like I said, we updated the fleet management plan. We brought in the goats, which are like the report class, which I was just thinking about that today. I need to check in with our contact to see when it's going to get empty and then figure out what our first sort of stats from that are. So we're looking into that.
So that will be the first.
I believe so.
Okay.
I'll double check with them.
Did you see that the side note that Webster apparently was going for number 4 this year, their 4th empty
I don't know.
this year. Like they did a post a couple weeks ago, like, bring your bottles that we're trying to hit for this year.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
Now we,
Now we have a new
now we-
competition.
Right, now we know. Webster did 4 last year. Yeah, I think that's good to say, hey, Webster did 4 last year,
Yeah.
come on, Brentwood,
Remind
let's.
people that it's there, because they,
Yesterday I saw a neighbor, we were playing pickleball and she was walking out with just one bottle. She's like, I'm just going to recycle my bottle. I was like, what? You're walking all the way? I was like, I just like it. Nice actually.
But it's almost full. I mean, I was there,
Yeah.
we used to go and it's like, it's bad, but like,
It's
yeah,
so
that
great.
orders. Pretty cool. Anyway.
So- Yeah, the other thing is, as we got ready for the year, I updated the sustainability plan tracking sheet. Now, unfortunately, I was not smart enough to double check it, because I noticed when I click on it today, there's only 2 pages instead of full 9. I've updated that. I'm not sure if it is, if you can see it, yet, or if Octavia needs to do something to prove it. But the proper document is in there now. But I'll send that out in an email to kind of show everyone where we're at. And again, it's just kind of updating where we are with either haven't started it, we were less than 50%, more than 50%, or we're completed. So kind of going through some just quick transportation. We're moving on some things. We do have telematics. We're actually looking at more telematics, not more, but a different telematics that actually might be able to do more data analytics. And so that's something that's actually being tested right now in public works. So we might be able to do even more with telematics, which would be great. The electrification plan for the city fleet, that is, like I said, we started that, and now last goal, like I talked about earlier, is to get from into the budget, make sure the equipment replacement reserve has funding for all the electric vehicles. I'm going to push this year for the anti-idling ordinance. Planning development was short staffed this year, so I'm going to push it a little bit more next year to do a couple of these things. They're on there now that they have. They'll be fully staffed, which will be great. Community development, engagement, and education. This is probably one of the ones that we have the most work done. I figure because myself and Michelle are on the committee. So obviously we do a lot of work, but we've worked on things like expanding stuff on education. We're working on all those. A full sustainability education campaign is in the goals for my Parks and Rec person this year to work with Michelle. And some of that might lead into the conversation we're going to have in a little bit. The toolkits were on there. We've had some decent festivals this year and bring people into Brentwood. We worked with Forest Relief today, do a tree planting campaign, and there's some stuff that we talked about, and we'll do more next year. So we're excited about some of those things there. Planning policy, again, a lot of that's planning development, so we're going to need to talk to them a little bit more. But we did get the ICC code updated this year, which was a pretty big undertaking for them. I mean, it was a big deal to kind of get that done. So we're real excited that that was done, which means we can now focus on making sure that those ICC updates are communicated and people are working with those. Then municipal operations, again, this is one that we've done a lot on for Michelle and I have kind of since we're sitting here. So done the energy audit, all the facilities. We're working on a lot of stuff in the parks. We've done a nice job getting some of that stuff in. We continue to look at native landscape when we do new stuff. So if you haven't seen last couple of weeks, we kind of got the first design for Montgomery Park done. I missed that meeting. It's exciting. I'll send you guys the sketch of it. It looks beautiful, but part of it primarily it's a walking trail around most of it. And on the eastern side, it is basically native plantings, kind of prairie grasses, and so it's almost kind of like kind of getting away. And then the eastern side will have an open green space, a pavilion, and a playground. So it does look wonderful.
No fields.
The green space can be utilized as a field, but he doesn't want to say it's a soccer field, it's a baseball field, we're calling it a multi-use green space. So. But it does really look nice. We're excited about it.
Awesome.
Should have brought that back in January. I'll just do a presentation to the commission
Yeah.
about it. I probably should have done it this month in retrospect, like, hey, we should kind of do that. Arts and culture, we continue to work on some arts program and programs. Again, one of the goals this year is to really look at, one of the goals is host an annual art culture event that draws participation from the St. Louis region. So I tasked my staff to kind of brainstorm what that could be this year and come up with a couple. We've kicked around some things already that some are interesting, some are not. Staff at first didn't know exactly like art, so you want an art show. I'm like, no, I don't. It's just arts and culture. And one of the things we came up with is I was in Lawrence, taking my daughter around, and they had information about their busker festival, and so busker like street performers. And so I'm like, this is something could be, it's like, not saying you have to do this, but this is the idea, just something that's different and not just, St. Louis Art Fairs in Clayton. We have tons of food events. Like, let's go with something new and different that might be interesting. Like think about that. I love the ice festival on Delmar. Like think like the ice festival. That's something that's unique and you don't see around someplace else. That's what we're doing. And so that's their goal, is to come up with something this year, and we'll bring that back to you guys and see if there's concurrence on what we want to do, and then we'll start kind of start working on that, and hopefully have that in a year or two. So I'm like excited the staff is. There's like another Brentwood days.
Haven't caught your excitement yet.
But we talk about how we incorporate the businesses, like again, going back to I use Ice Festival, like, look, it doesn't have to be in the park. We can work with businesses. If we do something, we do the Busker Festival, like you can have different West Community having an act, and then someplace else can have an act. And you basically go around the city.
Like the STL when they had the anniversary was the 200.
Oh,
they had the things that were all over. Like a temporary art walk, like a sculpture thing, where it's just go there for a month.
U City Loop does the Ice Fest, and so there's ice sculptures outside of a bunch of the businesses up in town, Delmar.
They used to do chalk art too, like in front of
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, like chalk artists come in and they just do. So if they don't do that, that could be another cool one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're trying to think of, and whether or not we do it in the park or we involve the city, I think that's kind of where we're kind of leaning right now. Is just kind of coming up with these ideas.
I share your excitement. That's cool.
And other priorities were primarily smart, and still smart, and we got most of what we could get done before they defunded it. Well, as we talked about, we'll keep working at that, and we'll keep working to try to do better if we can, and then if it ever comes back, then we'll be ready. We'll be ready. Right? Same thing with charging smart. So that's the full list, and my thought process was that we can take this month, and in January we can kind of talk about what we might want, what the commission might want the 26 priorities to be, whether it's on the list or it's something that is new. That's what that other priorities tab was for. Like, hey, this plan is a living document, so if there's something that we feel like should be on there, let's talk about it. So feel free. I'll probably send out an email just asking for kind of like we've done in the past, top 4 or 5 ideas, and I'll kind of compile them, and that way we'll kind of lead in the discussion for next month.
Might be good to kind of memorialize other things that we've kind of added along the way, like the plastic netting thing, other things that weren't on the list and weren't on the list, but just like add it and then check it, sort of a thing. Just to help us keep track of these things like that. Great. Any other discussion on the scorecard? On to Michelle for the reimbursement grant.
Yes, so we're continuing to move forward with that. I was able, when I actually went to the report out for the Green Cities Challenge, we ended up having discussion about the about the paint event that other cities had done with paint busters, and they were all, it was very successful for their cities. And so that was very promising. One thing that I did hear from them was that the response was so great that they encouraged you not to have it in collaboration with another event, which is originally what we were planning to do.
Like electronic.
Right, we were planning to plan it in collaboration, to happen on the same day as either a shred or an electronics recycling event. They say that because you're routing traffic for two different collection sites and stuff like that, they recommend not.
It's logistically.
Yes.
Too busy.
So that kind of opens up the discussion of when we want, if we still want to plan to have two of these events in 2026, when we want to do that. I want to make sure that we have enough lead time. So, my thought initially was if our recycling events and that, I think we have a May, do we want to plan for like June and then December? I mean, we do already have an electronics recycling event, or yes, an electronics recycling event at the very beginning of December. We could look at maybe a weekend after that for paint recycling just for that end of year one, but we don't have anything in June. So do we want to plan, for those timings? That way it gives us plenty of lead up time for the first one to get education out there, to make sure residents are aware of what that looks like in terms of pricing and things like that. And then we also kind of need to decide what our pricing structure looks like, because we will set a limit for how much they can donate for free, and then once they pass that, how do we want them to pay for that? Do they pay on site? And then also, are we putting a weight limit on the amount of paint that someone can bring? So these are kind of the things that we want to talk about. Because right now, aside from the $500 per event that we pay, it's $1 per pound of latex paint. And so, do we want to say that the city will cover up to X pounds, and then they're responsible for everything above that? What kind of, what are we thinking?
Do they have any data points where we could say a city of this size usually yields this many gallons and see where that fits, like with our budget restriction?
I could absolutely ask them that. Yeah.
Yeah, so when we were at the that event a couple weeks ago, there was, I think, at least two municipalities I remember seeing in that book that had, they did one last year, and it's like 6,000 to 7,000, 8,000 pounds or something. That I think they were, we're small, so I think they were both bigger than us.
Yeah.
But
If somebody brings in.
you never know.
paint,
So you never know. I think
The other-
there's a pent-up demand for sure.
That is the other thing that I think we will want to, and this is just my opinion, we will want to say that this is like, I don't know how to say this without being like, but we don't want contractors to just
Yes.
drop off.
It's household, yes.
And so then that does beg the question of, for our shredding and electronics events, we don't require anyone to show any sort of residential, we don't require a piece of mail or a driver's license or anything like that. Do we want to look at doing that for paint? But then that also would mean that we would probably need a staff member present for the whole thing, because I don't necessarily know that we can rely on paint busters to do that. Do we want to go through the first event and kind of see how it goes?
Yeah.
And then evaluate in terms of, do we need to implement a residential check for the second one? These are just things that go through my mind that I want to kind of talk through.
I think the idea of limiting the quantity could weed out the contractors, and then if contractors do wanna come, then they just pay for the extra amount they're dropping off. Then I don't know how many households would be coming in with massive quantities, and if
Right.
you don't wanna pay, you have another one coming up in 6 months, you can.
Yeah.
What is why not contractors, I guess, that's my question.
Well, if we're limiting the amount,
If you were to pick up a truckload full of.
yeah,
paint,
so
it's-
what they've said is they are limited to the amount of paint that can basically fit in this truck.
Okay, so there's a limit of the people that are doing the recycling.
Right.
Okay.
And there's a limit to if we're paying, if we're
Right.
putting some of the
Also,
bill,
Understanding
there's a
the
limit to how much
there's a
the
limit.
city can pay.
There's a spatial.
Yeah, but if they're saying
Spatial
we're gonna pay
weight limit.
$10 and everything above $10,
Oh, sure.
you're gonna pay, then who
Sure,
cares if
it's-
the contractor's bringing 700
Yeah.
pounds? You know, they're gonna be paying for it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a base limit and I
But
don't want
it's a space.
contractors to come in and bring in those
Yeah,
giant
they take 5 gallons.
pails of them, and then our poor residents who were coming, who was like, hey, I just painted my bedroom, I've got a couple gallons left over, oh, we're full up.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
But
I
again,
think that's like a little asterisk, like household only, even if. If a contractor shows up, you'll know they're five, they have 10
yeah,
5-gallon buckets, you can say, can you show me that you're a resident here and this is. Why would you as a resident have this much paint?
Well, if we have that big. Big need for contractors.
You should do that.
Big thing for contract.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's so big, do one for household and then do one for contract.
well, so, I think we're not gonna know, right?
Yeah,
Until we
yeah.
do it, so that's where I'm like, do we. Not worry about that for the first one, see how it goes, and then evaluate for the second.
Well, campaign busters give you some type of guidance with that.
Probably, yeah,
Yeah, I would think they should be able to give an estimate of how many pounds per person on average, you know, because I think that they know about how many people came and they know how much, how much they walked away with.
If you call it household paint recycling, then that pretty much says you're targeting households and not contractors. So, I think that.
I do want to say that the Public Works Committee set a maximum of how many gallons that the city would pay for.
so I thought we had talked
Say
about
that 25 or 50. I
Yeah,
think it's 25 pounds.
25 seems like, 50 seems
I
like
was
a
thinking
lot for
20,
the city to
yeah.
pay for.
Top of my head, I think it's 20 pounds per person is your.
well, that seems like a lot.
Well, typical
Which
gallon of
three?
paint is 10 to 12 pounds, so 20 would be like 2 gallons
Full
full.
one, yeah.
What
So-
do they do? Sorry.
They recycle it, they take out all the impurities and then they give it to Habitat for Humanity.
Cool.
Or should we say 25 per household,
Let me double check.
car? Yeah,
So
They don't
just
check
like
that.
that's.
I think it's basically per vehicle.
for donation.
Yeah.
For donation, yeah. And so we'll clarify that. I would assume that Paintbusters has a way of collecting payment above that. But I'll double check on that. I'll ask kind of these clarifying questions so that hopefully in February we can kind of nail down our limitations and our kind of rules so we can start promo. But is everyone comfortable if I move forward with kind of a June and a December event?
Sure.
Cause I think that would hit all of the people who do spring jobs. And then everyone who does summer, fall jobs, or winter and spring jobs, I
Set
think
aside for spring cleaning and then the winter cleaning.
kind of an end of the year thing. So, okay, I will reach out to Paintbusters. Eric and will determine exactly what that limitation was. And then I'll also ask Paintbusters if they see like other cities post, what kind of limitations they're seeing other cities put in place. But yeah, it sounds like all the other cities that have done this, they said they were wildly successful.
Yeah.
Now, granted, those are probably bigger cities. You've got Webster. I'm just thinking of the cities that were there. Webster, Brentwood, I want to say, was one of the ones that have
Yes.
done it. So they're generally bigger. But I think
And remind me, what's the grant
it's
limitations?
oh,
I mean, cause that's, bigger piece of it is how much of this is actually getting paid for by others.
Yeah, I mean, there was not, the idea for the grant was that they basically, from what we have heard from Dan, the public works director who was doing this, is that the maximum grant award was 25,000. But they said if you're really under 10, you have pretty much almost a guaranteed shot of doing that. That was before county mentioned their budget shortfall, so we're not,
I didn't think about that.
but it's still out, they're still having lunch. So
Isn't it ultimately an MSD? Isn't this, or is it just strictly the county? I was thinking it was like ultimately funded by a MSD,
Public
but,
health.
Yeah.
okay, all right, I'm thinking of something else.
And we are, in addition to the paint, we are applying for the funding for all of our recycling events.
Yes,
So not just the paint, but also electronics and shredding.
I mean, I think that might be part of the equation too, then, is like how much leftover budget we think we might have to work with from the grant, and then we can kind of, we think we'll have an extra $5,000. Well, no more than 5,000 pounds, is kind of what we're shooting for. So
But ultimately, it would be really great if we could get this grant to help fund those projects, because they do cost the city, I think close to $5,000 or $6,000 every year. I didn't do the math, but to have those 4 events, well, 8 events every year.
So what got approved by the Public Works Committee to apply for is $3,000 for paint subsidy, so 1,500 event. So we'd say we do 1,500 pounds, basically, 1,000 pound.
Well, but we have the $500 event fee,
Yes.
so 100 pounds.
Right.
The
that's
city
basically the
covers.
city has agreed to pay for out of its budget, not accounting for any grant funding.
The grant funding hopefully is for would cover the paint subsidy and the
Shredding
one-time fee.
and
Yeah.
the one
Right.
day. We budgeted all of that, so, but
Right.
right now, the city's comfortable covering,
But
$1,000.
and the committee said that understandably that if we don't get the grant, there's still funding to cover $3,000.
Yeah.
We said if we didn't get the grant, we could take it from sustainability budget, which still would be perfectly fine.
Yeah. So I'll get some clarification on this and I'll have that ready, for us when we meet in January. But we'll move forward planning for June and December for the paint events, and they'll be separate from our other events because we don't want to clog up the rec center.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll learn what we can from the other municipalities, and then we'll learn the rest from the first
For
event.
Ghostbusters, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Moving on to new business with the sustainability scorecard.
So again, one of our sustainability plan objectives is the development of the scorecard. And so that was one of the items that we were working on this year. And as we started to kind of look more and more into kind of best practices scorecards, what we found is that the ones we could find were pretty much just 5 sentences of do this, do this, do this, and it's like an Excel spreadsheet, it's not terrible, but we're hoping for something a little bit more robust, and we obviously can make it more robust. And so then it was like, well, what are, trying to think about what other people did, and obviously, I've been to a number of meetings with City of Columbia sustainability staff member. We just a lot of the MCC stuff. We seem to be in the same groups together. And so I'm like, I know they have a pretty robust science. So I went there first and looked at it and saw that instead of scorecard, they do kind of a dashboard instead. And then I was like, okay, then, I'm like, well, let me see what other dashboards I can find. And I kind of went in and started looking and, Google, finding some, and found basically more and more dashboards out there. And as I looked at them, a lot of them had a very similar feel to them. I'm like, okay, this is. And then I found out it was Kim Blender and Associates, and they do a really nice job. I mean, they look great. They do everything from kind of setting up the website to helping out with different things, and so I kind of looked through some of their stuff and really like it to be more than anything else. I mean, they have things like story maps, polls, new feeds, blogs, all those different things you can do, tracking of progress. Basically what we were doing with that Excel spreadsheet from earlier, you can do that on the website, and that actually then you can show everyone where you're at. And it is kind of almost a progress bar that you have. And they have different types of things you can do. And so saw that and basically did a demo with the company. And again, I like it a lot. I talked to Michelle. It's something that she looked at and thought it looked pretty good. It basically the website. Kim Leonard owns the website, and basically our website will transfer you to our page on their cloud, basically. But I thought it was worthwhile to bring it forward and say, if this is something we want to do, there's a cost. It's $14,500 first year. It's $9,500 each additional year. And so that's kind of what it would cost if we wanted to do it. Looking at Michelle, the person was like, is that something we can do in-house? I think Michelle said I could try, but it would not look as nice as this.
Correct.
And then also the amount of time and effort it would need to maintain that would be prohibitive for one person, which is what Michelle is right now. And so
And I don't think we could bring in another Michelle for the cost it would cost us to get this.
yeah, that is true. And so ultimately, I would recommend taking the recommendation of working with Kim Lundgren develop of a community sustainability dashboard for the city of Brentwood. What I would also recommend based on, I was going to talk about today, one of the things Alderwoman Tice asked was how we're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so it's not in the budget for this year. This came up after the budget came through. We do have funding and sustainability. It would cut a lot of it, if not most of it. I mean, we have 20,000, so this would be a huge hit to it. Doesn't mean that we couldn't find other stuff for other things that we do. Like the toolkit's coming out of my budget, all that stuff, a lot of stuff would come out of my budget. And the rest I just throw in Michelle's budget, just to make her mad.
Yeah, but we gotta do it.
But I think it'd be worthwhile, and then we then budget for it as part of the city's budget moving forward. So it's not that I just think the 9,500 would come out of sustainability every year. It would just be built into kind of the city's IT budget, honestly. So it would come out, which would be fun for me.
So then, Michelle, would you be updating this or giving them the information they
I
updated?
mean, Eric also, but I would probably be the point person who kind of communicates most with, I assume we'd have like a point person at the company who kind of maybe an account manager or something like that. But yeah, it would be myself and Eric probably.
But not a lot of time commitment because you're not making.
Right, like if say we decided on something that we wanted to see on our dashboard here in a meeting, then I would just be the one communicating that to our point person at the company, Kim Lundgren. Yeah, one degree.
Can I assume they have like specific metrics that they like to,
Maybe.
they would get from you that you send in, and then if there was anything specific that we wanted to highlight.
They would take a look at our sustainability plan and use that like, okay, so what do you guys, like, well, we're kind of new, but we have our plan. Like, oh, okay, so they actually help city track plans too. They wrote Columbia's climate action plan. They wrote some other people's climate action plan. So they're kind of really kind of working on this sustainability sort of sector that there's need for. And so they said, okay, so since you have that, basically we'd be looking at this. I think the idea of putting our goals as kind of our metrics would be our goals with our objectives underneath them, with the progress bar, and then some of the other things that we can do. There are some different things I think put on there, the add-on features, which we're not looking at right now, but if there's things in the annual report they can do if we needed something like that, resource center, some of those other things that they can do. And I can almost see kind of what we've been trying to do on our website, kind of filtering it into this almost sustainability. It is kind of the sustainability website that we've been talking about, but it'll be a lot. And I think it'll look a little bit nicer because they've got it down.
So I think even without any of the add-ons, it's a very robust place. And given that I think as time goes on, we're going to be focusing more and more as a city on our sustainability efforts. I think it's a really worthwhile kind of place to put our effort and our funds. Even just talking through kind of how we're looking at continuing to electrify our fleet. I don't think sustainability is going to go away. I think it's just going to continue to grow. And so I think having this kind of foundation early on is going to be really helpful for us. And, and I can admit that web design is not an area that I, necessarily excel at. I know enough to get by with our website and I'm continuously learning. But if we have this tool that's going to be able to create something really, really robust for us,
I like the dashboard idea. The school district recently went to a dashboard that anyone in the community can see, like our test scores or how students are feeling about the district, how the community is feeling, but it holds us accountable as well to make sure that we're continuously moving forward. And I think a dashboard like this for sustainability commission will do the same things, but house everything in one easy spot for the
Yes.
community as well. So I like that idea, I think dashboards of where people are going.
The other thing that I like is that it. On a website, like our website is so link heavy. That I think it'll be nice to just have one place on the like people will go to the sustainability resources page. They'll be directed to our dashboard, it's one click. And I think that that's great, because right now we've got all those resources, but it's all individual clicks and taking them to all these different web pages, which I'm sure they'll be directed to other web pages from the dashboard, but. From our website perspective, one click is great.
Does it feel, so having browsed through the other cities that have these, does it feel like a separate site, you know, or is it? I mean, is it obvious that you're like going somewhere else, you're leaving the city's page and you know, is I can see that being a little weird or jarring, you know, maybe for.
No, I mean, I think the idea is it is branded for your city. I can tell you that when I go to, I think I put like Santa Fe, Buffalo, like you definitely see. I definitely was able to tell like, oh, these are all very similar. This has to be a different outside entity to what happened.
Right.
But when I first went to Columbia, I didn't feel like I was outside of the city's website. I felt like it was kind of.
You didn't notice that it was, you didn't, what you noticed was the similarities, not
Yeah.
that you were.
Yeah, I would liken it almost to kind of what we do in Parks and Recreation. We kind of almost have our own. Yeah, I mean, we kind of have our own sort of page outside of the city's website.
Yeah.
It's branded very much like the same. I mean, it's the same website, don't get me wrong, but it is kind of it's our own sort of page where it lives outside of the city's.
I mean, like colors and stuff, you know, like is all that.
Those, you know.
Yeah,
And
Okay,
I think,
alright.
like, that's a really great point, is the parks pages, we could say, you know, we do have this additional page that goes on our website. But still maintains kind of the look and feel, while still feeling, I think the parks page feels a little bit more modern, a little bit more streamlined. And so we could let them know, like, hey, this is the one we've created off of our website, like, if you can take a look at that as like during the creation process.
So if you kind of is, I don't know, it might be not perfect to be able to see. But this kind of city's main page. And so there is a Parks and Rec button. And we do the same thing. Once you click on it, it goes to the Parks and Rec page. I think it could be something very similar. Where you're gonna click on that and be on that first button. It says sustainability. It gets you the dashboard, resource center, everything tied into sustainability will be there. Oh, look, thank you. Maybe it's me, well, it's smarter than I. But yeah, if you just go to the main.
Yeah, see, it takes you, it's got its own URL.
It feels very much like it's still part of the city's website, and it won't look exactly like this because that top, whatever that's called,
Banner or
the banner.
Because this is still run by city.
Right, because it is the same format,
Right.
and so most people would notice the change in the.
But I trust that they've done this enough to know kind of how to keep the look uniform.
Well, that keeps their price down. I mean, they can't be changing it all over the place.
Yeah,
That's something. And I think the good thing is that as the technology migrates and moves and changes, they're gonna be making those changes. We're not gonna have to be migrating stuff.
Exactly, and
All of that stuff is in their hands.
and we're looking into potentially updating our branding and stuff over the next year or so, so having. One of the web pages, I know that someone else is managing getting that updated will be great.
This seems real inexpensive,
For what you're getting.
what you're gonna get.
Yeah, how does this compare to what we spend on, website?
Oh, it's a lot cheaper.
Okay.
Well. It's a lot cheaper, I mean. But I've not been here through, cause like our webpage, we get like a redesign every X amount of years, and we had just done one before I started here. So I don't really know what that cost looks like. It's something that I would be happy to kind of look into.
Just for perspective, I mean.
I would anticipate it's definitely higher than what we're looking at for the dashboard, because we pay for the parks page, and then we pay for the city page, and so we're doing two payments on that. So I would kind of have to look into the. I need to look into the IT budgets, what that would.
I wonder if you know, to me, you know, this is not my, you know, it's not my area, but I would think IT would have to weigh in on, certainly on, is this a good idea to be kind of splitting, you know, having another, provider, you know, like kind of tacked on to our existing service, you know, that whole thing, and what are we committing ourselves to,
We do it,
all
I
that
mean,
kind of stuff. You know?
if you think about, here, let me look from. You go to, like, the request manager. This is a different website, that takes you to our, MyGov. And then planning development, all of our permits go through MyGov too. This actually looks a lot different than our website.
Yeah.
When I talked about, if you go to the city of Columbia, I have to remember how to get to everything. It is just there. Sustainability.
The last one.
I really need to get glasses
Um,
or change my contacts.
so our,
Have you lost on the pool?
So I mean, here's, right. I mean, here's their kind of sustainability page. They're obviously, they have a whole office sustainability, so it is a little bit more robust, but here's kind of, you know, what you can do, and then here's the dashboard. It still,
Okay,
it
all
still has a feel like you're on the Columbia's, City of Columbia's webpage.
so the yearly cost for that, just looking, is about half of what we currently pay for our website.
The whole suit. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like the idea that, one hesitation I would have is that we, yeah, I like what I'm seeing on this one where they still have their own page. They have control, you know, like if we're making regular updates, we're adding stuff, like, you know, new links or whatever. You can do that, you know, like we can do those things. Whereas, you know, I just don't know how much iteration do you get, you know, with a year to make updates and, you know.
That
we wanna-
question for that cost, how many updates can we request a year?
Yeah, it's just like, I just,
Like, is it like
what exactly,
they're billing
how
every
dynamic
time
is
send
this?
an email or something like that?
yeah, like you gotta. They're gonna do like 2 updates a year, you know, like they're gonna take information in so much, but, so I guess leave it up to the IT experts on what we're getting for money, but.
Can we ask for some clarification on that here? Yeah. Just in terms of like, are we limited to an X amount of updates every year? Are we billed per update?
Yeah, like just how easy it is it to make changes to the site?
So here's another one we looked at, which is the rural national. Was, again, maybe not perfect, but again, you kind of see it's very similar. But when you know, their dashboard, you click on one. Got it. It kind of shows
story maps, so it's really pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, they can do a lot of different things on here. But that's
Kind of have two thoughts. I like the idea of getting the dashboard set up sooner than later, because I think if we have a better history of data, that will continue to help justify what we talk about here. So I do think like the longer the history we have, the better. I wonder if maybe it would be a slow start, because I don't know what kind of data we have now. Like if we're going for, you know, carbon neutral, do we even know what we have to reduce? Or like what our goals are? I know we have like a lot of soft touch points. I don't know how much of our data we have like through the city to like build towards that. And maybe this will help us identify what data we need, but those are kind of my two thoughts.
Are we ready for a dashboard yet? It's kind of what you're saying, like.
Yeah, or if we get the dashboard, is that gonna kind of like push us to get the data? Which I know that's in line with some of our goals on the plan.
But this one kind of like if you look at this very much like clean energy efficient buildings, that's one of their goals, strategy, even their action items. This is very much how our plan is kind of set up.
Yeah, that's like a prettier version of our table.
Yeah,
basically, with the
exactly.
status.
Kind of different, see how they kind of run different things. And they're like, look, this is one way you can do it. There's different ways to show this progress bar. So, I mean, it's kind of like it does kind of.
That's very familiar, yeah.
Yes, and what I do like about this, kind of to what Christine is saying, is even though we might not be perfect and have everything going on, we can at least start with different things and continue to build into it. And what I like about it is, especially, and I'll be a little bit honest, is, some other departments aren't as quite as excited about sustainability as I am or Michelle. And this almost it's easy when it's a plan on your shelf.
Well, and I was just kind of thinking,
This
like,
helps
looking
some
at
feet to
the,
the
like,
fire.
looking at a progress bar to me is exciting. It's like, I want to get that to.
Great, right.
Yeah,
You can have like, percentage of fleet vehicles that are great,
Yeah.
and then you can break it down by like. Parks Department and fire, talk about putting peaks of fire.
We should-
Shame them.
we can tailor the graphic to our desires.
Just have like percentage of, hopefully that you see the two bars cross at one point. And so you can do a lot of different fun things. And even if, some of these things might be additional costs, it might be worth having that one cost or one
Yeah.
thing. And that's the stuff we'd be bringing back and having more conversations about.
I mean, it's a place to put, you told us about the mowers today, like none of us had
Yeah.
any idea those
Yeah,
were, that's
even
the
us.
place where you
Yeah.
put it, and I mean, I'm looking at Santa Fe and Columbia's right now, and just if you have bar graphs that show like your energy use, like that's so much more powerful than us talking about it at a board meeting
Right.
here.
Exactly.
And that's data you probably do have.
Right.
Dating back sometime.
Yeah, we
Make
really,
that.
it would push public works probably to track, to
Yeah.
make sure we track all this stuff
Exactly.
well,
Some of
it
it
needs to go somewhere.
right. Analytics that we can track, it's, hey, now we need to track it, we need to advertise it, put it on their show that we're doing well.
Or if we're not, we're on our way there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just what is the city doing?
I think the annual updatability is important because if we reset our goals at the beginning of every year based on whatever factors we're dealing with. I think it's important to have that archival data, or like, if we do have that goal, it should all be housed somewhere where you can say, oh, last year we improved this, X amount this year.
So the setup fee, obviously this data gathering for them, what do they do it in person? Do they do it in Zoom? Do they do it, have you guys?
A lot of it's through Zoom, everything you do today.
Yeah.
Looks like they're in Boston.
Yeah, East Coast. Couldn't remember Boston, I knew East Coast.
Do they also do website? I mean, what is, I don't know what the company does, but like, I'm wondering if these things look similar because they also built the whole, the greater website, or
I don't believe
they
so.
both have that dashboard, that top ribbon on both of those sites, it's the same, and that's before you get to the dashboard, it's kind of interesting.
They're an environmental consultant.
Probably more just the
Just
dashboard related stuff.
Yeah, they're just sustainability.
They
Yeah,
both, those two cities might just have the same,
They may have
Web
the same
company.
post, yeah.
oh, Scott.
Okay, to the tenant. I was wondering.
Well, Bridget is a dashboard guru, so she may have just offered to build one for it.
So it sounds like Bridget, you're on the,
In one program and one program. And it's not.
sounds like you're in the subcommittee. The dashboard subcommittee.
We can get our data into Equus, then I can build you a dashboard. I think it's gonna.
Alright, so you need a recommendation on what to do next.
Recommendation, if we like it and you want us to take it forward to the public works committee, because they would decide whether or not we move forward with the funding for it. That would be the next step.
Do we have questions we want answered before that, in terms of what the cost, how often you can update it, or we can make a recommendation to move forward? And get that information.
Yeah, I mean,
process.
If you guys want us to come back with some of those answers to some of those questions, just to make sure that everything you guys are comfortable with, happy to do that. As I was trying to play around with them, I'll ask those questions again, how quickly, or how many times can we?
Is there like an update limit? Is it like one update a year?
Once quarterly or twice a year or something.
Or is it like, or is it every time we have something we wanna change, can we email them? But then are they billing per hour?
Yeah,
Like, what is the support that you're gonna have?
And what can you add? Without. going
Yeah, do
through
I
it.
have access that I can make changes?
yeah, do they have a user, like user interface for you.
Is that what they, I don't know.
But part of me thinks that's probably not
I know.
possible,
Say
otherwise how are they?
Right.
But it's not as a budget for next year, so then it's also the other question is, do we, same building commission, want to take it out of our budget? That's the
That would be the, yeah,
we
You
can
do not
address them.
compare that to next year's goals.
and I'll be honest, we've had 20,000 every year that we've
Yes.
been a
We
commission.
don't use
We've
it.
never spent all 20,000. This last year was the best year.
This is the first time I build Green City Challenge to that, and that's like $400. So,
I mean, we used some stuff for Sustainable September.
yeah.
And then we had our party. And
Yes.
I think pretty much it.
Which I was gonna bring up again as another, do something like that again, but I think maybe, so my personal thought, is, come back with the next meeting or 2 meetings from now with some of that more information for us dummies to better understand what we're getting for our money, and then presumably we'll be looking at those, the list of goals, again, and just like, what do we have planned out for this year? What we're thinking else for this year? And then we have a better idea of what else we might want to spend our money on. And so, but yeah,
That's easy.
then we can kind of.
Do you want us to make this a more concise motion?
Well, I don't think we need to.
Oh, no. It's summarized with. We're gonna get answers and come back in January.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be able to get it in January. I like the idea of tying this to the conversation around next month
I
about
agree.
priorities too. So it makes a lot of sense to get more, introduce it, get more information. I'll set up a meeting for us and Kim Munger, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect.
I like it.
Yeah. Good find.
That was all.
Thanks for the suggestion.
Do we have our schedule?
Or
Next meeting?
Yeah, or is it for the full?
It's the fourth. Fourth.
Yeah, we're back to the fourth Monday of each month.
This one was the 5th, but
I put the schedule together, maybe I didn't send it out, I think I had.
It's very possible.
got one for
I-
you.
You did get redevelopment, okay, so I do have it on my desk, and I can send it out first thing in the morning, so that way you guys.
I have it on my computer, so it's there.
Cause I think we have some questions about some of the days, that might be why I did not go out yet.
We'll add the calendar to next meetings. too. Actually. So the next meeting is the 26th. And then we'll have the full calendar in that meeting and discussion about any dates that we might need to move.
So, on that note, I guess new business wise, I was thinking, might be due for another casual gathering. And if anyone's interested, it doesn't have to be as, as big of a thing as it was last time. It could just be
That was nice.
go out for drinks after a meeting or something, but just some away from, off.
Offsite.
We take a bus.
Right, forgot.
So, we don't have to necessarily decide anything, but just throwing it out there.
When I hear take the electric bus to the wineries.
Trial run, we wanna see how it does.
Check the range test. You didn't do it under load, it can't guarantee it.
I think that's great.
The school board president approved it.
The activity has been minutes, it's for the bus.
I definitely have that down.
Cedar Lake Cellars here week.
Verbatim.
I love it.
So come to the next meeting with your ideas.
Okay.
For event. Any other new business items? That's it.
I mean, we adjourn.
Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone. That was a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
And Happy New Year. Happy holiday, everyone.
Yes.